We are going to do a meth injection installation video. Sam is being awesome. He's helping out. I found some write-ups on Renlist, I think, with people that he helped also. But we're going to put this into a visual learning for everybody. I'll be completely honest, this is my first time to do the meth injection. I've done everything else here multiple times, but never gone into the meth injection. So we're going to do that, show the controller, show everything that needs to be done. So we're going to start with our Y pipe here. So what we're going to do, this IPD plenum, or this is the Y pipe, I'm sorry. So we're going to tap this Y pipe and we're going to put our jets. We're going to put our jets into the Y pipe. So I'm going to mark this. I'm going to get everything even where it looks nice. We'll drill it, tap it, and then Teflon coat these and put them in here. So I measured it, marked where I wanted the jets to go. Then it's best if you tap, if you give a little, you need to have a little indentation before you drill so that the drill doesn't walk all around. So you tap it to make a little indentation so you got something for the little drill bit to go into. We want to start with a small drill bit and then work our way up to the bigger drill bit of what the size we want to tap is. All right, we got the first one completed over here. And honestly, this isn't going to turn out as pretty as I wanted. I think because of the way, the roundness of the pipe, even with the little mark that I gave it for the drill to hold on to, it still kind of rolled a little bit and kind of moved away from where I wanted it to be. This one kind of moved up and over, and then this one moved a little bit down. So I try to get everything in line completely. I was making my marks in line, but it's looking like we're not going to be in line when we get our jets in. It'll still be functional, but I like for everything to be as pretty as possible. I mean, you live and you learn, and the next one I do will come out cleaner. But you can see, so we made our mark, we made our first little drill hole. Now we're going to go up to our big drill hole and then tap it. Did not come out as pretty as I want. I was not perfect performance branding this time. I like it to look like a car show quality, even when it's a part you're never going to see. And I don't really like car shows, but we're in now. My drill bit walked one way, like I said, on the one, and then it actually ended up kind of where I wanted it on the other one, but it doesn't affect function. I mean, it still does what we want it to do. It's just not quite as pretty as I'd like for it to be. So we can see our jets are in, our hoses are on, which I'm going to take the hoses back off so I can install this. But I wanted to get this all tapped and taken care of before we install it. We don't want to do this on the car and then you're trying to blow metal shavings out and they're going in the engine or near the engine. So I like the way the controller looks in the Sport Chrono Clock, which I don't really know of anybody that uses the Sport Chrono Clock. I'm sure there's people that do. But every car I get into, it doesn't look like it's ever been touched. So we can run our wiring. So I disassembled the housing of the Sport Chrono Clock, and then I just took the silver ring off of it. And I slid the gauge inside the silver ring, and I think it was set up for this because they send a little piece of bent sheet metal, so that it fits perfectly in that bezel. So to lock everything in, and then I just drilled small holes and just ran a couple screws in so that whenever you were pushing on your buttons here, that you weren't able to push this out of the housing. So we got to get it wired in now. This kit came with the optional low level sensor, so we had to drill the tank for the sensor. So we put it in on the bottom, and don't be dumb like me, I almost messed up because I forgot that the sensor has to come in from the inside out for the wiring, not the other way around. And if you got fat hands like me, I had to pull the whole ring and everything off of here to be able to get in, to be able to put the sensor in. And you can hear we've got room for the sensor to drop down, so whenever your level gets low, it'll trigger that little warning LED. So for the pump, for the power, the ground, and then we got our level sensor, we got a signal wire and we got a ground. So I've made a wiring harness. I butted them all up together. We can see on the other end here, we've got our ground, we've got our power, we've got our signal for our level sensor. So I'm going to pass that through underneath the carpeting, through the grommet here, up and through the firewall, and then I'm going to make a common ground for all my ground points on this. So if anything goes bad, it's just all on one ground, so everybody can figure out where that's at. I'm going to ground it to the battery instead of having 4 different ground points throughout the car. I passed the meth feed line through one of the unused holes for the headlight adjustment, and then I had to grind it, open it up a little bit, so I put a protective like the rubber grommet around it to keep it from rubbing through. I use spade connectors on all my wires from the controller so that if anything goes wrong and we've got to pull this back up out of the dashboard, we are not hardwired, and the entire car is not hardwired together. We're able to pop this out and work on our controller by disconnecting it from the wires coming from everything else. So I see where a lot of people were running that vacuum feed line or the signal line for the controller. They were running it through the A-pillar, through the headliner and whatnot. I pulled the center console up and I ran it. You can see the vacuum line right there. I ran it through the back of the car, around through the center console, and then came straight up to where I could hit my sensor. And we can see our completed unit. So we've got our controller, we've got beginning of injection, we got end of injection or maximum injection, we got power nozzle, we have text color, we've got graph color, injection on, injection off, and then here's all our controller, and here's where we hit to purge the system. Before you take it out and beat on it, you got to purge it, make sure you got a clean flow. So meth injection installed. Left lane is for high-speed traffic and passing only.